Hi everyone, I'm Bella, and this is our presentation on the black sea bass.
And I'm Connor.
And my name is Ryan McMahon.
So this is the table of contents of our presentation and everything that we're going to go over.
We decided to pick this fish because we're all from the East Coast, so we're very familiar with it.
And we decided to make a short video just as kind of an introduction for anyone who doesn't know about the black sea bass so that they can identify them and know some basic information about their habitat and how to catch them.
And our main audience is going to be college age students. So this is why we chose this PowerPoint format to make it easy and simple to understand, something you're all familiar with.
Now we'll start with the biology of the black sea bass. So the first thing that you notice about this fish is its unique color patterns. So there's a small white dot on every one of its scales, and there are diagonal white bands that run across its dorsal fin. In addition, the belly of the black sea bass is slightly lighter in color than the rest of the fish, which creates counter shading and helps it camouflage against predators. The fish has a compressed body and a terminal mouth, and this is probably because it likes to stay in reefs or wrecks and not in open water. Regarding the internal biology of the black sea bass, it is not too special. The black sea bass is a saltwater fish and has an enclosed swim bladder, which means it's subject to barotrauma if you're fishing for it. Also, it is a protogynous hermaphrodite, which means it changes from female to male as it grows older and grows in size. The life of the black sea bass begins during spawning season. The males will actively gather groups of females, and the males will also develop blue and green markings around the eyes and a small bump on its head. The females will lay 30,000 to 500,000 eggs at a time, mostly in coastal areas. When the juveniles are born, they have a dusky brown appearance that's much different from the adults, and you'll see a picture of that later in the video. The juveniles will be able to reproduce in about 1 to 3 years. As these fish grow up, they have to worry about finding prey and avoiding predators. The black sea bass are opportunistic feeders, but they like crab, shrimps, worms, clams, and smaller fish. However, they are hunted by larger fish such as bluefish and weakfish, as well as some types of sharks. Now let's talk about the black sea bass's binomial name. Its genus name, Centropristis, is split into two Greek words, which is kentron and pristis, and I couldn't find a definitive root word for striata, but I believe it originates from the Latin word stria. Anyways, the black sea bass is in the family Serranidae, which also contains groupers. And now we'll be talking about the habitat and distribution of the black sea bass.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing the distribution and habitat of the black sea bass. So the first thing you need to know is that they are warm temperate species, which basically just means that they like to live in a warmer environment and water. So on this map, the red along the eastern side of the United States basically just shows where they can be found. They have been reported from Canada all the way down to Northeast Florida and the eastern Gulf of Mexico. During the cold months, they can be spotted off the coast of southern Florida as well. The black sea bass distribution is split into three main populations for management purposes. There is the northern, southern, and Gulf of Mexico population. Some researchers do consider the Gulf of Mexico population to be a subspecies because they are managed independently from the other two populations. The northern population is considered from Cape Cod, Massachusetts to North Carolina, and the southern population is from Florida up to North Carolina. So the split between the two is also supported by seasonal migrations and spawning patterns, so it just makes sense to have the split in North Carolina. In the fall, the black sea bass migrate offshore and towards warmer waters in the south, and in the spring, they migrate back up north and the inshore towards coastal areas and bays. These fish tend to inhabit shallow waters with rock jetties and rocky bottoms. They also can be found near wrecks and reefs, are common as well. They spend most of their time along the bottom substrate and can be found around rocks, piers, and wrecks in the water. When migrating in the fall, they can be found in deeper waters offshore. They've been reported up in depths up to 425 feet, which is about 130 meters. Juvenile black sea bass reside in protective areas, though, around jetties and piers with shell bottoms. And in this photo, it's just black sea bass in the reefs, which is like usually where they are. And then these are just a few more photos taken by scuba divers of the sea bass in their natural habitat. So you can see how they like to be around rocks and all that other stuff on the bottom. And these are my sources. Thanks.
All right, so I will be discussing the management aspect for the black sea bass fishery. First off, it's divided into two stocks within the United States, the Mid-Atlantic and the South Atlantic, which is where we are in Florida. And the black sea bass, they are a commonly consumed food item. And as a result of this, they are under different regulations for commercial and recreational fishing activities. First off, we have commercial fishing, and they are only permitted certain number of equipment, and it's very, very limited to only trawling gear, which is a weighted net dragging along the bottom of the ocean to catch bottom-dwelling habitats, and then pot traps, which are, like the name implies, just a pot that lures the fish in with food or something else, and eventually it just prevents the fish from escaping. And the way these things are regulated is that pot traps, they need to come with ghost hatches, which are biodegradable. And that means that eventually, if something smaller than the black sea bass or something other than the black sea bass is caught within these pot traps, as time goes on within the water, it fades off and it allows these creatures to escape. And they also have come with other escape vents as well for the same purpose in order to limit bycatch. And trawling is only permitted for some black sea bass fisheries, as they are not allowed to be used in the South Atlantic, and use was banned since 1989. And here we have the commercial catch fishery for the black sea bass. The graph right here displays the current year 2022's quota, which they only have caught, I believe, 12%, according to NOAAfisheries.gov. And it's a significant increase from 2021 of 4.23 million pounds, likely due to the coronavirus. But it's still less than 2020 of 6.98 billion pounds, just to give you a comparison of very recent years of what is expected among the catch for black sea bass in the Mid-Atlantic, South Atlantic stocks. And according to data gathered over the last 10 years of catch history, an average quota of around 5.2 million pounds a year is what we discovered to be for the black sea bass fishery. And moving on to sustainability, the previous slide was only for commercial catch history. Recreational, there's not much regulation recreational, and this is in part because the black sea bass stocks are very sustainable levels in both South and Mid-Atlantic regions, and they actually become above the target population. And the fishing rate for both commercial and recreational vessels have been at recommended levels, and they've been very stable throughout And as a result of this, it's promoted increase in the population growth for the fishes. And another reason is because methods of capturing these fish, even on commercial vessels especially, they have very low like environmental impact, and like they do very little harm to the fishes or their habitat, thanks in part to the limited trawling allowed within both fish stocks, as well as the pot traps of efficiency. And as a result, the black sea bass has been a very non worry for fishery managers, but that's also led to not much being known about them because they are not of much of concern. They have no need to, I suppose, no need for them to learn more about them.
And that concludes our presentation on the black sea bass. Thanks for watching and have a great day.